So anyway, the question is he really who he says he is? Is he an actor? It's looking like he might be an actor. And Reform have now complained about Channel 4 interfering with the election, which is obviously a really big deal.
Well, it's a big deal because Channel 4 is publicly controlled, owned. It's something. There's something to do with the government. The fact is, our tax dollars, some of it is going to.
No, we'd pay no tax dollars. It's self-maintained.
But the government controls.
No, we control.
No.
The government does not control it.
Not
it's not
the
like
government.
You mean they're
excuse
subject
me.
to
this state?
Yeah, it's publicly owned. We all own it.
We all own it. Okay, so whatever you. Well, that means I call it the government. Excuse me. I'm from America. I'm not from this country.
Well, I'm not the government.
The truth is, beautiful Cressida. Beautiful Cressida.
Okay, HR!
Whatever, you can't say, I think you look great, too.
Well, that's fine. Well, okay, that was the important bit I wanted.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what you wanted.
Okay.
I'll give you a hug later. But, like, the dude says, this guy he's an actor. Well, Louis Schaefer's an actor, too. I was in The Duke and in Cruella and in Wonder Woman 1984. He said the broadcast, it will all come out in the papers, Mr. Parker said. This is this guy.
Yeah, it's really odd.
So why doesn't he say no? It's not true.
He's not saying anything. Channel 4 is saying it didn't happen. They're absolutely denying
They're very much adamant about this. They did not exchange money.
But this guy, Parker, says there's something to it. All he has to do is say, it's not true, I didn't really mean it, I want to apologize, it's an outrage.
Yeah.
But he said,
Well, the interesting thing is, initially, he said that he was sorry, and now it's like he's going, well, the truth's going to come out. I think he's deliberate. He is now in on trying to muddy the waters. I think that it was. I think he, just because you've done acting doesn't mean that you're not. You can't be racist.
He's an actor.
Well, it does tend to be that you're a left winger, doesn't it? On average, if you're in the.
Well, I think there's a difference between being. He's an actor, but he's also like doing cameos, using. It's a broad spectrum.
Don't badmouth actors who are not doing that well.
But I think he's like the woman that flashed the thing in New York, the portal, and the lady that threw the milkshake, and then turned out to be an OnlyFans model. I think he's generating traffic to his own brand. Isn't he?
I just think that he probably was kind of showing off. Is what I think. I think there was a new guy on the scene and he was showing off. That doesn't excuse him by any means, and there seems to be an issue here with Reform, and we're going to talk about that in the next story.
That's what you say, and I disagree.
Well, it's actually not what I say. It's what Farage said himself.
Farage says he did not believe the things that were coming out of the guy's
initially he
mouth.
said very much that he did believe that this guy, and he very much distanced himself from it.
Yeah.
I think Reform are now trying to muddy the water here, make this complaint, when it turns out it actually was all legitimate and he did do it, and then it's the election's over.
So you think Andrew Parker really has the views that were in that clip?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's so interesting. When I watched it, I thought he's overacting, he's hamming it up.
Yeah, but people ham up stuff in real life. That's my point.
So you think he does believe it, but he's believing it more for the cameras?
No, there's no camera. I think he's just believing it more because there's a new bloke there, and I think people show off and they try to shock people as you're talking with each other, but he didn't know he was being filmed. Anyway, that's what I believe. That's just what I believe.
Well, we're taking a vote. You're maybe in the middle, but I don't believe it. And even if it is, it's just one person that's trying to bring down the Reform Party. And
well, unfortunately, it's not been one person, but we're going to talk about that in the next story. More Farage next, Lewis.
Shouldn't you be more neutral?
I'm just saying what I believe. I'm not saying that I believe that everyone in Reform is racist at all. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I believe that there have been people who are attracted to Reform, unfortunately, who are racist, and they haven't been very good at exposing them. That's partly not their fault. I genuinely believe that, because the election was called too quickly and they weren't able to vet all the people.
When you have a new political party, you're going to get crazies coming.
No, and I'll tell you what also I believe.
And
I'll tell you what I believe as well, is that the hypocrisy of Channel 4 to focus just on the Reform Party when they could have gone in to, I believe, the Green Party and had Islamists saying incredibly racist things. They could have gone into really any party, and I didn't see some big Channel 4 expose of Corbyn at the time. So I believe they're being hypocrites, and I believe that there is racism in all parties. That's what I think.
I don't believe that.
Right. Well, There we go. More Farage next, Lewis. And
More
just
Farage.
to show we're not biased, this is from The Observer.
This is from Nigel Farage has announced he is boycotting the BBC over biased question time audience. I didn't see this thing that he was being interviewed by somebody on the BBC, but they kind of attacked him. They had people stand up and call him a racist and said the audience was biased. But everybody knows that. We all know that the BBC is part of a bigger global conspiracy. And by global, I mean the Germans and the French, and being one Europe. And
we don't all know that, but...
Well, I know that. This is what I believe.
You know
fine.
that the BBC is owned by the French and
I
the
don't think
Germans.
that they're owned. I think the ideology is part of a bigger thing, that they're taking our tax dollars to broadcast an agenda.
OK, fine. Cresta, I'm not saying that there isn't an ideology at the BBC, and I'm not arguing that they don't promote it. I just don't know about all the other stuff that you said.
I'm very interested to see what happens next. I've got the popcorn out, because Farage is somebody he's known for picking fights with big organisations, big people, and doing quite well.
He's done excellent with the bank thing was amazing.
Exactly. Does he need the BBC more, or do they need him more? And
well, this is the thing.
They can't not have him on ever again.
No,
surely.
but he's not. But he's saying he's boycotted them. But he's already been on their biggest political show. It's only a couple of days to the election anyway. So is he going to generate more publicity by doing this than actually going on the BBC? It's the Laura
He's going
Husberg show.
It's a smart move.
It is a smart move.
And the people who are watching this, people who like Louis Schaefer and Crescent, I hope, and maybe even you, Josh.
I don't think the same people like him.
I don't think that they do, but maybe they do. But the fact is, they know there's something wrong with the BBC. Or maybe there's nothing wrong with
No, I
that.
agree with you. There is something wrong, certainly with BBC News.
Something wrong.
And I think it's also a good idea because he's going to be receiving a lot of hostile questions about these people who have been exposed. Now, I wanted to say, because it's covered in here, was that Nigel Farage himself said by essentially he sees himself as partly the destruction of the BNP is unfortunately that there are going to be certain people who used to be part of the BNP who are attracted to the Reform Party. He believes that he was successful in keeping them out. Obviously, that doesn't seem to be the case. That was the point I was making on the last story here. But having seen the question time, I mean, there was no... there's no question that there was bias there. But the bias comes from who they deliberately don't let ask questions as much as who they do allow to ask questions. That seemed like it to me.
Who is in the BBC's... I don't know what the right word is, pocket or mind, that would be on a show like that? Who do they call up and say, hey, you want to come in on a show? Like, who comes to our show? You know, when
we generate our own audiences, don't we?
And they're not going to be BBC type people. They have their BBC type people, which is fine. The BBC can do what they want to do, but just stop taking our money.
Well, stop taking money. Also, stop claiming impartiality. Right, onto the Mirror now. And Cresta, it looks like at the last minute, someone might just about have swung it for Labour.
Elton John urges Brits to vote Labour as he joins a raft of celebs backing
a whole raft of them.
Starmer. A whole raft. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha. No, they weren't on a raft. So who's been backing them? Jason Manford, comedian. Don't you hate it when comedians try and talk politics? Ugh. Dragon...
What does he know?
What does he...
Is that the point? Yeah. I was a bit slow there.
Deborah Meaden from Dragon's Den. Turns out she's a big lefty. That surprised me. Not what I was expecting.
Who are you talking about?
Deborah Meaden.
Deborah Meaden.
Dragon.
Yes. Surprising.
And she's even been saying she's met with him and he's marvellous. What does she have to say about him? She said, having spent some time with Keir, I find him thoughtful, caring, reflective, which is interesting.
Yeah, all of those things. He's just so Keir.
And Keir, Elton John is basically saying that we shouldn't... it's heartbreaking to see the hopes of Britain's next generation of creative talent downtrodden by bureaucracy and red tape. And he's making the case, as are lots of these celebrities, that Labour are going to support the arts more, which...
Support certain people in the
I'm
arts.
not sure. Well, and that isn't really why we have... Mick Jagger's dancing didn't come from, like, a lottery-funded weekend choreograph.
You know what? Lots of people do believe that, though.
Do they?
Yes, they do. They do. I just had a long lecture just today yesterday about how this young girl learned to play the violin. I mean, she made nothing of it, but the fact is it made her a better person.
I just think the ego of all the celebrities to sort of think that their opinion is what's going to make any impact.
But it does. It's on the air. It's on our show.
Yeah, but OK, so it's on the air, it's on our show, and people are going to vote how they're going to vote. I don't think anybody's going to go, who do I go? OK, Elton, you've done it for me. It's ridiculous.
I disagree with you.
I mean, obviously, people pay celebrities to be in adverts for washing powder, don't they? There must be some sway.
I don't know. It just feels like ego stroking to me.
I'm voting for the Welsh party. Just to let you know, and I'm a celebrity. I'm on the TV here.
Okay, well, there we go. Well, let's see if we see any uptick there. Moving on to the Mail on Sunday next. And, Lewis, is this the most mental story that we've covered this month?
You're going to explain it to me because I don't really understand. There was a boy, 12 years old. He was referred to counter-extremist prevent officers by his own school after declaring there are only two genders. And then he said, he's 12 years old. He says, I'm gay, not queer. And so they reported him. But that's like, but further down, they find out that he was actually, he said he believed in exterminating certain groups.
Yeah, exterminating who?
He said that Hamas, the Gaza-based terror group,
right, the Gaza-based,
should be wiped out.
Don't, yeah, sorry.
Don't interrupt me.
No, I'm just, yeah.
That's not unreasonable, is it?
Basically, if it was lost at home there, he said that Hamas should be exterminated.
Yes.
Well, it says wiped out, exterminated. I don't know if that matters, but...
Yeah.
Either way, he's absolutely right. They are a fundamentalist, Islamist, terrorist, rapist organisation.
Yeah, but he has
and
to
they
be
need to be wiped out for the peace of the Palestinians because there can be no peace with them.
But if there was a guy, a Palestinian there, who said... he wasn't reported because he said the thing about I'm gay, not queer, and there are only two genders. He was reported because he was proposing killing people. At 12 years old.
I disagree. I think what he was doing was reacting to some bullies who apparently were doing Nazi salutes at him because they knew he was Jewish.
This is ridiculous.
And really what's happening is the authorities are picking on the person they can pick on, which I don't understand. It's so ridiculous. And they're sort of saying, like, why can't you be bullied and behave graciously when you're being bullied? Like, why can't you be bullied the right way? And to say we're sensitive about victim blaming...
Yeah. But no, you're right about this. Why, you know, it's ridiculous, but the truth is there is this rule out there that the government has to be told if somebody says something like this to prevent something like other things from happening. That's what it's called.
But the point is that they haven't. Have the police had a word with the people who are giving him Nazi salutes? This 12-year-old Jewish boy, you know, and they sort of going, oh look, he's interested in weapons because he had this very little toy catapult thing that is sold by the National Trust.
This is what they. Whatever the toy catapult is.
I think it's absolutely disgusting.
You are looking for fairness, and
I'm not looking for fairness.
Yes, you are. You're saying they should attack. You know, they should question the boys who are doing the other thing, which they should. But in this country says if you say you're going to kill somebody, the police should be contacted. I don't maybe agree with that, but that's what...
Well, he didn't say... He's basically said exterminate. Anyway, the point is he says he doesn't believe in non-binary, and it just shows how the police are utterly captured, how Prevent are not doing their actual job here. I mean, to be fair, they were the school is not doing their job referring him to Prevent. And he's a 12-year-old Jewish kid. Sounds like he's totally got his head on his shoulders. He understands the world. He has a clear morality here. There is no such thing as non-binary. Hamas absolutely should be eradicated. And Prevent, if you want to come for me, I don't have any weapons, even wooden ones, I'm afraid. Right, you made it halfway, and as a treat, we've got some great stories coming up. Sexy female prison officers. Glastonbury doesn't fail to deliver. And what is a pretendian? Find out in 2.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Over the coming days, it's going to be fairly mixed out there. Some of us will see some sunshine, but there still will be some rain from time to time. And in fact, we've still got this area low pressure across parts of Wales and northern England, giving some cloud and rain here this evening. That will sink its way southeastwards, weakening as it does so. So very little rainfall across the south come the end of the night. To the north of it, some clear skies, but also still a rash of showers across parts of Scotland. Under the clear skies, temperatures just falling into single figures, but under the cloud, temperatures holding up around 15 or 16 degrees. So as we start Sunday morning, we continue with some showers across parts of Scotland, brought in on a fairly keen wind still. For many eastern and southern parts of Scotland, however, it should be largely dry here with some sunshine. The odd shower for Northern Ireland, but across parts of northern England, Wales and the Midlands, actually, it's going to be a lovely start to the day. Plenty of sunshine here. Similar story for Devon and Cornwall, but further east, across southeast England especially, quite a grey start with the risk of the odd spot of rain. But this cloud and rain will clear off towards the continent as we head towards lunchtime. And for many parts of England and Wales, it's a dry day with some bright spells. Scotland Scotland and Northern Ireland continue the risk of the odd shower, but I think they've become fewer and further between into the afternoon. And come the end of the afternoon, I think the best of the sunshine will be down towards Devon and Cornwall. A cooler day for most, thanks to that northwesterly wind, highs at best reaching around 21 or 22 degrees in the south. Come Monday morning, a bright start for many eastern and central parts, but rain across the west will spread across many areas as we go through the course of the day. Main focus of the rain will be across the north, very little across the south, and that really sets us up for a fairly changeable week. Some dry weather to be had, but also the risk of some rain, especially in the north.
On election night, we are throwing a party.
The GB News Election Night Watch Party will be live from Essex and you are all invited.
On air from 10 o'clock, we'll have familiar faces from across the channel, entertainment and lots more stuff as we keep our eye on all the results as they come flying in.
If you want to join our live Election Night Watch Party audience, scan the QR code on screen or go to gbnews.com/election party. Congratulations to the GB News winners at this year's Trick Awards.
And the winner of Interview of the Year is... Alistair Stewart reveals his heartbreaking diagnosis to Camilla Tominey.
And the winner is GB News Breakfast. And the winner is Nigel Farage.
And thank you to you, our GB News viewers and listeners, for making us the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
So, what? Someone wrote that. Sorry, Lewis is on Twitter and someone said they want to have a date with Lewis. And they also are very sad about the death of my mum. Oh, the day. I thought you said a date. OK,
a day is worse. A whole day.
Oh, my God, yeah. No, 2 hours. That's... We've had an hour and a half. We've had enough. Right, welcome back to Headliners. Let's get straight into it. Well, we didn't. With the Mail on Sunday. And Lewis, could this be next year's calendar?
It could be. Why do some female prison officers fall for cons behind bars? This is like one of the biggest stories of the thing, and this is where is this? The Daily Mail. Women love men behind bars because they know where they are because they're trapped. They're trapped behind bars. Women love bad boys. That's why they love Louis Schaefer. The more horrible things that I say, the more people like me.
Could you imagine if you were in prison as well? You'd be like, this is like everyone's. I wouldn't dream.
And they want to be. This is so. It's what it is. Is a saying. There's this female guard sent out a video. They had a video of some female guard in prison. The reason why female guards have sex with prisoners is because they're put in prisons with guys. That's what they... It doesn't matter where they
Do you think
work.
they're deliberately getting that job because they can't meet a man? And this is their only opportunity. Is that what it is?
They're probably
That's such a male way to think about it.
I'm a male.
They're very young. Professor Ian Aitchison has been talking about this, former prison expert guy.
By the way, only by the end of the article, there was about 20 pages of salacious stories before she was wearing a prison. They closed the door and then finally they put the actual answer in at the very end.
It's true, it's filthy mills and boons right up until the last page. And then we find out that a lot of these women, apparently women make up 42% of the prison workforce, which is a lot more than I would expect. Because we know that the prisoners are mostly men. And they come into the job very young. There's not enough funding in the prisons, we know that. And so then they get put in a prison. And it's not just that women love bad boys. They're very manipulative, aren't they? On average, you're going to have more psychopaths and more manipulative people.
Oh, you're blaming the women?
In prison. No, I'm talking about the men.
The men. So
they
you're
are
blaming the men.
particularly difficult men. And if these women come in and they're young and they don't know what to do, the men will kind of... Is it like a honey trap? That's not the right word, but they'll hook them, love bomb them, and then they can get their contraband phones.
So you're blaming the men. Isn't that so typical?
Well, the interesting thing here is the actual blame is on hiring women. Because the rate has not increased. Now, I think it's gone up a huge amount. Oh, it's 31 and it used to be 19 or so. So, you know, whatever you want.
13% or 19%?
No, like 31 people this year and then it was 19. But the point is, in that time, the percentage of female guards has increased by pretty much that ratio. So it's not that suddenly lots of women are deciding to have sex. It's the same rate that has continued through. The problem is that there are a lot more women working in the service. Maybe they wanted to achieve some sort of equality. It seems to be heading towards 50-50. But you could argue that maybe that is not the place, a male jail is not the place for
women to be working. Maybe
I'm just saying, maybe.
Maybe women shouldn't be working anywhere, really.
OK, well, how about not a blanket? We're not saying women can't do it.
Only the ugly women.
There should be. Well, no false eyelashes for a start. I think that's a mistake. No, more rigorous training so that the women are better armed and there's more time for them to drop out. You know, they're more prepared. If they're not the woman for the job, they can leave. But what's happening is very green women are ending up.
Oh, you're blaming the...
All right, there we go.
I love feeling heard, Lewis.
Yeah.
Yes,
I listen to you.
OK, we're going to now go to a story in the Sunday Telegraph. Sometimes you just need a loved one to tell you the truth. Shame the president doesn't have that person, Cressida.
Oh.
Jill Biden under fire from Democrat donors for not advising Joe to pull out of the race. So obviously we've seen the debate this week between Biden and Trump, and it was a bit embarrassing. It was awkward to watch.
Just like this? Just like this show? We've got an old man who's just sort of... who's barely...
Somebody with too much fake tan.
Who's incontinent.
That's not true.
That's horrible.
It is horrible.
Nick Dixon had to use that seat.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Look, it says here, the next few days will be crucial in deciding whether the US president's position is untenable. The next few days? I think it was the last few days.
Yeah.
We've already...
Yeah.
How's it going to go? Well, no, because I think it's whether it builds up to a crescendo of protest, because there isn't the ability now for the Democratic leadership to actually show any... to not be cowards, which they have been for the last few years.
It's not that they're not cowards. There's nothing they can do about it. From what I know.
But they could have done something before. But now, if enough donors pull out, which seems to be what's happening...
It doesn't matter. It's not up to him.
No,
it's up to the states.
No, it's up to the donors. Come on, it's all about the money.
No, it's not.
Well, this article...
They can't... Well, they're wrong, as far as I know.
If everybody pulls their money, then they will get the message and they'll have to get someone else. That's the reality.
Who?
Who?
Let's say Joe Biden doesn't want to drop out.
Gavin Newsom's the one that...
No, but let's say Joe Biden doesn't want to drop out, Cressida.
Correct.
What happens? The Republicans cannot just say, we don't want this guy, because they...
No, but the Republicans do want him, don't they?
The Democrats.
Well done to your insightful look at the news.
I think Trump definitely wants him right where he is. Trump doesn't want to...
for sure.
Right.
Because it's exposing, as I've said many times, there's a war going on. It's a war between the left and the right, between Europe and America and and people who are nationalists.
The problem is that Kamala Harris, she's not popular at all. They haven't. It's ridiculous that they haven't got someone else in the wings, that they haven't built it to this point.
There is no they. You don't understand.
Yeah, of course there's a they. They're the Democratic leadership, and they've been a big bunch of cowards.
It isn't like British, where they sit in a room and they decide who's going to be the next prime minister. It isn't that way in America. There's all these procedures. That's why America's the greatest country in the world. What am I doing here?
Yeah. Sunday Telegraph next. Cressida, it turns out that a higher percentage of Labour voters understand biological reality than Labour MPs.
Nice. 2/3 of Labour voters say a woman cannot have a penis. So...
Does that mean a third are stupid idiots?
Yeah, that's...
Well, actually, it's not third, is it? It's 13%.
I'm glad you... Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
So this is a survey by Whitestone...
13% are sure, but, there's a much larger group.
Well, it depends how drunk you've been, if you've been to Thailand. We've all had experiences.
And can a woman ever have a penis? Do you know what I mean? Sorry, can I say that?
No, of course you can.
I don't know what I meant.
Sorry, we're interrupting Cressida. If only Cressida had a penis, she'd be able to finish this sentence without being interrupted.
God. When I talk, he just hears... What was I saying? Does anybody care?
Sounded like that Thai trans woman with the ping pong balls. Anyway.
Josh!
Sorry.
Unbelievable. Tony Blair thinks women don't have penises now. That's the new fashion.
Yeah.
Keir's agreeing. He didn't used to. He used to be unsure. He thought that some did and some didn't. Apparently, 9% of Reform voters aren't gender critical. That was the shock.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Only 91% of Reform voters are saying women can't have a penis.
Well, that's where Cressida's right. That's where the dividing line is. It's one of those questions. What do you think? Do you think a woman, whatever it is? And there's a problem among Labour people.
OK. I mean, just finishing on this, someone wrote on X, Twitter, whatever, said it's going to be really great on the 5th because now the culture war is going to be over. And it's so totally true. Like now guess what? What excuse are they going to use after the 5th that people just want this stuff sorted out? It's got nothing to do with the culture wars. Anyway, Lewis, this Observer story has me thinking whether I'm going to continue to pretend to be.
Well, what story? I've lost.
Oh, we're going to Canadian woman gets 3 years in jail.
Canadian woman gets. Oh, okay. Well, this is great. Anything to do with Canada is always so fascinating. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry, Canadian woman gets 3 years in jail because she was a pretendian. So it's some woman who's like this white Englishy type woman from Canada, and she says her 2 children are Indians, are Inuit.
Native Americans or whatever.
They're the natives, and because they're
Inuit people,
whatever they call them up there. What did I say that they were? Indians? Did I call them Indians? Sorry. Was that an insulting thing to say?
I don't know.
Wrong. Whatever. They're Inuit nations, and they got about 160,000 Canadian dollars. I don't know how much that is.
It's about £3.
Could be, or it could be a lot, because they used to be a wealthy country once upon a time, and so the woman's been put in jail.
Yeah, so but it's interesting. I mean, this is not a new phenomenon, is it, Krista? People pretending to be a different ethnicity, and this is frowned upon in Canada, as opposed to pretending to be a different sex, which is celebrated.
Nice. Yeah. Frowned upon. It's a bit more than that, isn't it? She's got a custodial sentence.
Yeah.
And they've said, no, fraudsters, look at what other fraudsters are up to. We're not having it. And she's gone straight to prison.
Because it goes against the core philosophy of Trudeau and his party and the Canadian, not all Canadians believe this, which is their team world. And you have to have, you know, if you're going to be giving Inuit money for just being Inuit, right, for just being there when all those great English people made Canada the great country that it is.
There was a point there, I'm sure. Right, just the final session to go, and if you made it this far, we shall salute you with Racist Pride, Who's a Mr. Magoo, and Ancient Egyptian Lesbians. See you there.
Was that a Biden type cut?
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
The University of Cambridge has told students to stop flirting with staff under a new policy banning sexual relationships with professors. The new rules, which come into force next month, beginning of July, include a warning against behaviour that could be interpreted as flirtatious. University staff have been told they must report any behaviour that could constitute a student making advances towards a personal, particularly intimate relationship with them. If you're a tutor, how do you interpret what is flirting and what is just sort of like having a bit of banter?
In fact, you've got some
very nice trousers, by the way.
Thank you.
You see, you didn't even recognise.
Oh, I didn't. I think I'm blushing now. I'm blushing.
So, what's flirting? What's me complimenting your very well-fitting trousers? Yes.
Well, there is a line, because obviously when you're 18 and you go to university, it might be the first time you're away from home. It might be the first time that you're open to maybe a bit of a nightlife, social activity, drinking and all the rest of it. On the flip side, I know a couple who, the pupil ended up dating their professor, and they've been together for about sort of 15 years now. So I used to go after lectures with my professor and the whole seminar. We used to go to the pub afterwards, and I became very good friends with, she was a mature student. She was on the very, very far left of political. You wondered where that was going for a second, didn't you?
We're both breathing a huge sigh of relief.
Very quick for you, Joe. We're running out of very nice trousers as well. We're running
Thank you, not as snug as Charlie. I think you've got to have some rules in place that there's no abuse of power. Policing it's difficult. We ought to be in a position where you can say, get off, back off, or, banter's fine. Actually, I hate that word. I hate it almost as much as woke. Go on, email in.
Thank you very much. I'm flirting with both.
The People's Channel.
This election night, we're putting on a party.
And you are invited.
We'll be here with you.
Following all the twists and turns.
As well as all the live reaction from our election night watch party.
With our GB News lineup.
And as morning breaks, we'll be here with breakfast from 6 a.m.
As it becomes clear who the winners and the losers really are.
Vote 2024.
Thursday, the 4th of July.
Only on GB News,
Britain's election channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Your lunchtime update on the stories that matter across the UK.
From breaking news and insightful analysis, inspiring stories and lively debates. You're comparing yourself to a former Prime Minister.
Which is it?
Stay informed, stay updated, stay entertained.
I just don't know how anyone would not want to be there.
Every weekday from midday.
We are Good Afternoon Britain, only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the final section of Headliners, and to the person who just tweeted Cressida that was the joke that she did. If you watched the whole show, go back to the beginning. It was a joke. She did it intentionally. She is a comedian. Right. Cressida, the Mail on Sunday has a story about London Pride, or should that be London Shame?
London shame. Sadiq Khan leads the crowd at the capital's Pride Parade whilst a group chanted, "There is no pride in genocide" elsewhere in the city.
There was also no genocide in genocide. Yeah. I mean, technically.
And it wasn't really a crowd. It was only 50 people leading the, the rest of them were thrown off the building, so they would have come. they were sure they would have.
I think it was really good, Lewis, that we both let Cressida actually finish the headline before we both interrupted her. I apologise. We're both going to be quiet. It was me. I apologise. It's me. Bad. My bad. You go. Go.
Well, that's it, really, isn't it?
OK, so now we...
It's been Pride again, as it always is, and Sadiq Khan's there, as he always is. And the 50-person group were waving posters and talking about genocide. They're calling Israel's actions a genocide and talking, well, queers for Palestine. It's hilarious, isn't it? It never gets old, the idea that these people stand up for them. They're talking about pink washing, also known as rainbow washing, a term used to describe the practice of trying to benefit from supporting LGBTQ rights. Or, as we could also call it, Sadiq Khaning, because he loves it.
He loves it. He's all there.
It's his big thing.
A big thing was this Pride was led by an asexual. This time, which and this is what they're known as. They're called spicy straights. So this is what that's what they're called.
Well, it could be me. I've always considered myself
you are not spicy.
in the plus category.
Pure missionary, Lewis.
I'm in the Lewis Schaefer plus category.
Right, on to the Mail on Sunday, Cressida, and please tell us why Glastonbury Festival is the worst place in the world.
Rock band Idols led the Glastonbury crowd in chanting "F the King" as the festival turned political on Friday night.
Edgy.
You know what? I bet it's political all the way through nowadays. I haven't been for a long, long time. So the band's vocalist, Joe Talbot, who also sang an anti-Farage song, while a small blow-up boat surfed the crowd. This was a Banksy art installation about immigration. This thing floating
Was
around.
it really Banksy?
Well, another article I read said it was. So that's good enough for me, allegedly.
It seems so tasteless. People have died on those boats. It seems mental.
Well, I guess they think they're raising awareness, in case you didn't know.
And the irony of it is it's behind a great big wall, which no one can go through, you know? So
open borders?
Well, you can if you've got 20 quid and a mate with a ladder. But anyway, or maybe it's tighter these days than it used to be. The security, So,
I mean, I'm getting old, I think, Lewis, because even I watched that. Have you seen the clip, Lewis?
I didn't see the clip.
Well, did you watch it, Cressida? The guy, the guy, well, that, but also the guy going like, F the King, and getting all the child. It was so lame and pathetic.
It reminds me of Rick Mail playing Rick.
That's exactly what it was like.
There's the thing of him performing the song Evil with Jules Holland in, I guess, the 80s or something, and it's exactly
It was
like
posturing,
that.
it was pathetic. But you know what's interesting was the song was good. Like, they were a good band, totally. Yeah. But this stuff was really, really lame.
Well, remember at the Glastonbury, they were going, "Oi, Jeremy Corbyn," or what were they doing that? And, that guy's been forgotten.
Well, also, you had Damon Albarn, who's someone I'm a big fan of, and he comes out and talks about how, do you feel it's an unfair war, what's going on in Palestine?
Yeah, but he didn't really say...
What he did, he said an unfair war. It's an unfair war in Israel. Israel didn't start the war. I think that they, having over 1,000 people of their citizens murdered, raped, that's pretty unfair, isn't it, Damon? I mean, should these people speak up about these issues?
Josh, no, because they don't view it that way. They don't view that the war started on October 7th. They think it's been going on forever.
Lewis, the Daily Star, as always, provides some fascinating insight as long as it involves lesbians.
Yeah, and I love it. I love lesbians. And I love that.
And clip it.
Yeah. Well, at least I'm not being anti. I'm being friendly. Anyway, lesbians culture.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that, Lewis.
I bet they are delighted.
I like lesbians. There's something wrong with saying that. Anyway, and they don't have the same thrill that they used to have. Back when you're young, you never saw one. You thought, oh, the idea of lesbians. But then you grow up and you see lots of people, different people. Anyway, lesbians culturally accepted in ancient Egypt as evidence in Book of Dead, and this is in ancient Egypt, and they said that it was that something basically they have no proof that there were lesbians in ancient Egypt.
No, they do. They've got a statue of Ida and Ru, and people said they're two women side by side. Yeah, but
two women side by side.
They're in a scissors position.
They're not.
No, they don't. There's nothing in this.
Are we allowed to say scissors?
And even if there was, sorry. I think this is such a non-story.
I've just been told in my ear to apologise for the last comment I made about
what did you say?
Stationery. Right, the show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at Sunday's front
I didn't make my point about lesbians.
The Mail on Sunday, Rishi warning, Starmer will wreck Britain in just 100 days. Sunday Telegraph, Labour will bankrupt every generation, warns Sunak. Observer, Starmer's promise to voters, I will relight the fire of optimism. The Sunday Mirror, be on the right side of history this time, vote Labour. Sunday Express, Starmer to wreck Britain in 100 days. And the Daily Star Sunday, how the hell can we lose now? And those were your front pages. That's all we have time for. Thank you very much to my guests, Cresta Wetton and Lewis Schaefer. We're going to be back tomorrow at 11 p.m. when Leo Kurtz will be here with Nick Dixon and Paul Cox. And if you're watching at 5 a.m, stay tuned for breakfast. Have a nice day.
Warm feeling inside from Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Over the coming days, it's going to be fairly mixed out there. Some of us will see some sunshine, but there still will be some rain from time to time. And in fact, we've still got this area of low pressure across parts of Wales and northern England, giving some cloud and rain here this evening. That will sink its way southeastwards, weakening as it does so. So very little rainfall across the south come the end of the night. To the north of it, some clear skies, but also still a rash of showers across parts of Scotland. Under the clear skies, temperatures just falling into single figures, but under the cloud, temperatures holding up around 15 or 16 degrees. So as we start Sunday morning, we continue with some showers across parts of Scotland, brought in on a fairly keen wind still. For many eastern and southern parts of Scotland, however, it should be largely dry here with some sunshine. The odd shower for Northern Ireland, but across parts of northern England, Wales and the Midlands, actually, it's going to be a lovely start to the day. Plenty of sunshine here. Similar story for Devon and Cornwall, but further east, across southeast England especially, quite a grey start with the risk of the odd spot of rain. But this cloud and rain will clear off towards the continent as we head towards lunchtime. And for many parts of England and Wales, it's a dry day with some bright spells. Scotland and Northern Ireland continue the risk of the odd shower, but I think they've become fewer and further between into the afternoon. And come the end of the afternoon, I think the best of the sunshine will be down towards Devon and Cornwall. A cooler day for most, thanks to that northwesterly wind, highs at best reaching around 21 or 22 degrees in the south. Come Monday morning, a bright start for many eastern and central parts, but rain across the west will spread across many areas as we go through the course of the day. Main focus of the rain will be across the north, very little across the south, and that really sets us up for a fairly changeable week. Some dry weather to be had, but also the risk of some rain, especially in the north.
Looks like things are heating up. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£30,000 in tax-free cash really could be yours. It's our biggest cash prize of the year so far, and you could be getting that winning call from us to tell you that you're our next Great British Giveaway winner.
You're joking. Really? Seriously? It's not a wind up, is it?
I'm slipping neck. Oh dear.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
I'm in shock. Like I said, I've never won anything like this. That is absolutely fantastic.
We're going to the moon. Thank you.
For a chance to win £30,000 in tax-free cash, text cash to 63232. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You can enter online at gbnews.com/win. Entries cost £2. Or post your name and number to GB07 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 5 p.m. on the 30th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. GB News, Britain's election channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking, this is a nightmare for the Conservatives again. Down to earth. It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it? And most importantly, honest. Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them. Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Neil Oliver, every Sunday night at 6 p.m. on GB News. And if an hour is not nearly enough for you, go to gbnews.com for special extended episodes online every Friday at 9 p.m, where we can truly get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Congratulations to the GB News winners at this year's Trick Awards.
And the winner of Interview of the Year is... Alistair Stewart reveals his heartbreaking diagnosis to Camilla Tominey. And the winner is GB News Breakfast. And the winner is Nigel Farage.
And thank you to you, our GB News viewers and listeners, for making us the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
On election night, we are throwing a party.
The GB News Election Night Watch Party will be live from Essex and you are all invited.
On air from 10 o'clock, we'll have familiar faces from across the channel, entertainment and lots more stuff as we keep our eye on all the results as they come flying in.
If you want to join our live Election Night Watch Party audience, scan the QR code on screen or go to gbnews.com/election party.
Welcome to the Saturday Five. I do thank our warm-up act, Sir Keir Starmer, for his input tonight. Now, as you might have noticed, it's Glastonbury Festival weekend as well, packed with young, idle, tofu-munching lefties, happy to moan on about everything under the sun, despite never having done a proper job in their lives. Benjamin Butterworth, why aren't you there?